What if I told you that attempting to revive a critically acclaimed movie franchise from decades ago, simply down to using nostalgic value, is not the best movie making decision? I had to. Not sorry. Although, yeah, I don't look anything like Morpheus, for obvious reason. I look more like the critical drinker. Uh, Go away now, but actually don't. Stick around, because, yeah, if you haven't already gathered, I saw a movie recently, and much unlike another recent film that uh, did the nostalgic value thing correctly, Spider-Man: Far From Home, from what I've heard anyway. Yeah, this is just derivative drivel. Like, my God, from playing archive footage of the first three Matrix films over and over again to, immerse you back into the story, and just same old plot beats from the other movies. Like, I mean, I don't know anyone who was saying, "Oh yeah, The Matrix, that's definitely due a reboot." Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Donald Clark whatsoever. Just for the record, he is a movie critic who writes for the Irish Times, and he is a complete movie snob. But I thought it would be interesting to go through his review here and add my own 2 cents. I read a little. I read a bit of it, and already it was just sort of, oh, listen to me, plebs. Like, I'm on the right side of history. But anyway, The Matrix Resurrections review. Another clunky sequel trapped in the last century. Lana Wachowski fails to dream up any new movies for this tired and dated sequel. Yeah, agreed. Imagine if we were all a dream in the mind of a particularly boring and unimaginative god. Okay, that's a little bit unfair, but there is little in this uninspiring Matrix revival to debunk the creaky old saw. Not actually down to Einstein. That madness is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. The first two sequels were dreary duds. Why would things be any different 2 decades later? Agreed. A lot has happened in the interim. Right-wing blowhards have adopted the red pill, blue pill thing as an analogy for opening oneself up to the realization that communist lizards rule the universe or something. That's charitable. Yeah, good on you, Clark. Fuck's sake. Plus, you're a journalist. It's to be expected. But, the reason people latched on to the whole red pill, blue pill analogy, the metaphor from the original Matrix film, particularly from hack journalists like you, is because the media lies. And you are too immersed in your own bubble to realise where they're coming from. All I'm saying, some of the first film's prophecies about malign power of technology here, paratechnology have, if not exactly borne fruit, then swollen a few buds. There's potential for satirical invention. Sadly, Lana Wachowski, now directing without her sister Lily, has failed to work up many new moves worth savouring. Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss look better than they have any right to look. It must be those hardy Canadian genes. Okay. But the film feels trapped in the last century's outdoor. The clothes and sunglasses alone are hilarious out of the mode. Agree. What was once the coolest of images has now become the preserve of teenage superhero obsessives from Rust Belt suburbs. So much of the new film's look like the work of uncharacteristically well-heeled attendees at San Diego Comic-Con, one half suspects a bald 40-year-old dressed as Thor is standing just outside the frame. Do you see what I mean about Donald Clark being, this pompous movie snob? Fuck me. Yeah, but I should say as well that the stories that were coming out about this movie, I mean, yeah, sure, Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss returned to it, but Lawrence Fishburne wasn't invited to come back, which was strange because, like, I mean, never mind Neo, like Morpheus was an iconic character, and where would we be without Agent Smith, Hugo Weaving, who was rejected from the project because, or not rejected, he was just the plans to bring him back didn't go ahead because apparently there were scheduling conflicts, and he asked for a bit of leniency if they could film at a particular time that wouldn't clash with the other film he was working on, and allegedly they told him no, so they just did it without him. They brought in a few stand-ins, so that was the first red flag. If anything, I just watched this film out of morbid curiosity. But anyway, let's listen to the rest of what this snob has to say. To be fair, some self-awareness is on display. We begin with Reeves Thomas A. Anderson, the former Neo, living a stressed life as a video game designer in San Francisco. The story we know as the Matrix trilogy is his most successful creation. That is not self-awareness, that is painfully inserted meta. And, like, again, the amount of times that, they try to pay reverence to the previous movies, but it just, it's desperation more than anything. Like, look at the member berries, look at the member berries, look at the dangling keys, yeah, look audience, we're trying to win you back. Is it ridiculous? The story we know as the Matrix trilogy is I said that. We learned that the firm's beloved partners at Warner Brothers are going to create a sequel even if the original team doesn't get on board. See what I mean? Painfully inserted meta, and I cringed when I heard that. Yeah. I'll just skim over it a bit. Baffles the brain to learn that Lana wrote the screenplay with the gifted novelists David Mitchell and Alexander Hemon. The story works through the greatest hits with drab efficiency, and adds precious few fresh flourishes. The opening conceit about a video game is nicely done, but it quickly becomes an irrelevance. What variations we get on the philosophy tends to be delivered in lengthy duologues that recall the worst excesses of The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revolutions. True, Neil Patrick Harris has a few good moments as a sinister analyst who may not have Neo's best interests at heart. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, the production value was good. Like, yeah, that is quite a superficial element, but yeah, it was just in some cases like beat for beat segments from the previous Matrix films, and it's just really lackluster. And like, yeah, like, I'll give it to Reeves and Moss. Like, in 20 years they've aged beautifully. Like, I hope to look like that when I'm 55, 56. But sure, look at yeah, I don't know, go see Spider-Man No Way Home, like, because this was embarrassing.